Hi everybody, this is Cindy from Ideas Times 2. Welcome back to our channel. Today I have a quick flip through of a couple of projects that I recently finished and put in our Etsy shop. And I wanted to share these with you today so you can see what I've been up to. So both of these journals are bee related, but they're very, very different from each other. And so let's just take a quick look at what these projects are. So I'm going to move this one to the side and start with this mini journal. And this small journal I made using a baguette bag. And so it's not real big, but it is pretty stuffed. And so it measures about 6 inches wide, but it's only 4.5 inches tall, and the spine is about a half an inch. It just wraps around, so it doesn't have a real, you know, a real spine, but this is definitely reinforced. So the closure is just a muslin tie, and the front cover and back cover are both collaged. And this is, the theme really is sunflowers and honeybees. So there are, here's Van Gogh's sunflowers right here. And the fabric on the spine is tiny little bees. The front, it's a combination, again, of bees and sunflowers. And on the spine, there's a little charm and a vintage button. And the front cover has, since I made it out of a paper bag, it has kind of a built-in pocket. And there are a couple of extra large tickets in the pocket. And when you open it up, the very first thing is a flip, this small envelope flip. And inside of the envelope is a tiny little junk journal with bees, of course, and that just goes in there and collaged up on there. So it starts with this gorgeous paper. This was actually the end papers in a sunflower book that I have, and I stitched, did some stitching on there, so it's like a Franken page. Coffee stained paper and doilies. Here's some double-sided cardstock, and on the other side is a small coin envelope that I've put a tag in. And here's a large pocket with some ephemera. And see, I made the pocket out of sandwich wrapping from Panera. And the sandwich was delicious and the paper was fantastic. So just a little washi tape on the back. Here's some printed paper with bumblebees on it, some vintage music paper with a pocket and tag. On the back is blank. Book pages, sunflower book page. Here's some vintage notebook paper and another small collage. There's a page from a typing book and some coffee stained graph paper, a map of North Dakota, and a tab up there on top with a charm. And the charm is just a number 365. Some more coffee stained paper. Here's a little double tuck spot up in the corner. Invoice, book page, I think I used Easter egg dye on to dye this paper. Beautiful bee cardstock. Another book page, coffee stained paper, a pocket made from a book page. It has a tag and a little bingo card in there. Here's another book page with sunflowers And the center of the signature says sunflowers. Sunflowers are by far my favorite. I grew up in North Dakota, and there aren't a lot of people there. There's a lot of land, a lot of farming, and not a lot of people. So you can actually be driving down the interstate in North Dakota and not see any other cars, but on both sides of your car, stretching as far as your eyes can see, will be fields of these bright yellow and bright green sunflowers. And the sky will be so blue it hurts your eyes. There's really nothing more beautiful than a field of sunflowers on a bright, hot summer day. Here's another tab with a sunflower charm. It's more of that gorgeous bee paper. It's a little tuck spot with some tiny tags and cards. Some washi. And it's North Dakota. I grew up about here. It's off the map. A little tiny envelope, and inside the envelope is a little tiny ephemera, a little bee stamp, or faux stamp. And I've just clipped it to the other side of that typing textbook. Here's a tuck spot with an ephemera card and a tag that I made from a paint chip that I picked up at Lowe's. I was up there to get plants for my front porch and swiped some paint chips. Here's the other side of that pocket with the bingo card with a small little cluster there in the corner. A couple of ephemera cards I clipped on there, and there's the back. The back pocket has a tag, a couple of ephemera cards, and here's a little ticket on the bottom. So that's the Sunflowers and Honeybees paper bag journal. I used a baguette bag to make that, and I also did a tutorial on this one, so I'll put the link for that below in case you're interested in making your own. The other journal that I have here, this one is just bees, not bees and sunflowers. This one is pretty much a naked journal, but you can see I used a book cover, the Bigglebee book, a replica of the Bigglebee book that I picked up, and there's the back. I replaced the spine, and you can see it's got this really pretty bee fabric on there. I also put a headband on there and a removable tassel with lots of different kinds of fibers, pretty much all black and white. There's a charm on here, pretty hefty bee charm on there, and I've just attached it with a bull clip so you can take it off. On the inside, well, you can see the book does lay flat, which I like for writing in a journal. The book has 3 signatures plus a bonus folio on the end, and we'll look through that in a second here. You can see both the front and the back covers have big pockets, but the journal is, like I said, is naked. I have not embellished anything, but there's lots of visual interest, but I didn't make any ephemera cards or anything to put in here. So I did a little bit of stenciling on here though, and have lots of bee papers and book pages, and here's a piece of cardstock, All the paper is coffee stained. Here's another book page. So lots of fun papers in here. So even without all of the embellishing and ephemera, this is a fun journal. You can see I sewed the signatures in with black. I thought that was appropriate. The book pages are all from different bee books. I didn't realize how many bee books I have. So for somebody who doesn't raise bees, I have a lot of bee books. Yeah, one summer when I was in high school, maybe 10th grade or so, I worked. So that's the first signature. Second signature also starts with a little stenciling. When I was in high school, I worked one summer for a man, his name was Myron, who had beehives, and it was a very messy job, taking out these frames and scraping the wax and extracting the honey. And at the end of the summer, we put the beehives on the back of a trailer and took them down to Texas because the bees in the hives wouldn't have survived North Dakota winter. But they would go down to Texas in the winter and they would pollinate down there, and then in the spring we'd take them back up to North Dakota to pollinate the farmers' fields up in North Dakota. But I remember that job not so fondly. It was messy, hard work. And there are always bees flying around, so you had to be careful not to get stung. So the center of the second signature, bee book page, swarms and swarming. So lots of coffee stained paper in here, some graph paper. So lots of visual interest, even though the journal is primarily naked. And this is wrapping paper with bees. Another book page and doily, coffee stained doily. The third signature starts with a little bit more stenciling on there. Another doily and book page. Wrapping paper again. I just love these papers with the all those bee papers. I just think they're so pretty. The center of the signature has some more bee paper and this book pages from a bee book. So a little bit of everything in here. Lots of different kinds of papers. But pretty much everything is coffee stained except the wrapping paper and book pages. So that's the end of the third signature. That's 156 pages. And then I also put a fold out in here, a little folio. And so on the first page here, the front of it, I have a belly band with a notepad that's removable. So if you write in it and fill it up, you can replace it. On the inside, there are three little waterfall pockets, a large tuck spot there, a big pocket here, and then on the back, a side pocket and an empty policy envelope, and a place to store, whatever you need to store, receipts or whatever. But even though the journal is naked, you can see it has a lot of visual interest. There's a lot of fun things in here, fun papers. There's lots of room to expand when you add your own ephemera. And of course, this gorgeous tassel just clips on the side here. So these are two of the journals that we currently have available in our Etsy shop. There's tons of other things in there, other journals, journaling supplies. So check out our shop. I'll put the link below, and I will be back later this week, probably Friday or Saturday, with more content. I've got to get at least one more video in before it's back to work full-time next week. Teachers are already back planning and getting ready for school, and I've already been back for a week. I have this week off, and then next week it's back full-time. So trying to get stuff in the shop, trying to get content made. I don't want to neglect our YouTube channel or our Etsy shop. So check out the shop. Have a fantastic week. I plan on it now that the tropical storm has moved off and our weather has calmed down a little bit, a little cooler outside. I think this afternoon I'm going to sit on the front porch with a book and a big glass of iced tea. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.